Salutations, adventures, and welcome to Roll for Felicity, where we play serialized one-shots in a multitude of systems with assorted players. Tonight, I am joined by some of these aforementioned assorted players. I'm here with Dreamy, Paige, aka Dungeon Mom, and Tisha. And tonight we're playing a game called Succulent Sorcerers, which is written by Dawada Nungmanila. And I've been literally, I think I got this game almost a year ago. I've been wanting to play it for that long, so I'm very excited. Let me do the command in the chat. If you are watching the stream and you want to play this game, you should 100%, you can go to itch. I think it's $4 on itch, so very good. This writer also has like, I think a total of 4 games that are like plant, I always want to say plant-based, that they're plant-based games. But like, I think they have 4 of them, that are like this, that are different types of plants. But tonight, we're going to be playing succulents. And I will, immediately throw it over to oh, I'm Taylor. If you're new here, we just got some follows. So let me shout those out. Also, a hype train right off the bat, thanks to my players, which is amazing. So yes, thank you to Dungeon Mom and Captain Freestar and Dreamy for the subs. And then, let me see, follows. Keegan Frost, thank you so much for the follow. And Kellyman52, thank you for the follow. Murdoch_2, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I'm so excited for the stream tonight. And with that, I am going to throw it over to Dreamy to introduce herself.
Hi everyone, I'm Dreamy. You can also call me Angela. I'm also a streamer here on Twitch, and my favorite plant is a golden pothos, probably.
That's a good option. Yeah, I'm so flustered from this hype train. I also didn't say, my name's Taylor. Oh. I'm the GM, plant master. I play tabletop games on here, and then I also play other video games. For anyone who's new here, that's me. That's what I do. And now I'll throw it over to Paige to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Paige. I also go by Dungeon Mom because I play D&D and RPG content over on my channel on Twitch. My favorite plant is an elephant ear because it grows like over 4 or 5 feet tall, and I'm 5 foot, so it gets bigger than me, and that's really cool.
That's awesome. I love that. And yeah, Tisha, do you want to introduce yourself?
I am Tisha, otherwise known as Captain Freestar. I stream both at Captain Freestar or at a channel called Twisted Team, where we'll do a variety of streams. On my own channel, I do a lot of art and just various games. And my favorite plant is actually cactus, even though I cannot grow or keep one alive to save my life.
Yes. I have also had my fair share of plants that have died. My favorite plant, I think I didn't say, but I think my favorite plant is probably a sensitive plant, which I've killed a bunch of. But if you're not familiar with a sensitive plant, it's a plant that like has like kind of open leaves, and when you touch them, the leaves close. So it's kind of like a Venus flytrap in that it has like a reactive thing that it does, but they're like tropical, so they don't really do so well. I pretty much have to buy a new one every year. Also, thank you so much for the hype train. I'm so excited. Wonderful. It's my first hype train, which is just great. So yeah, thanks Super Silly, Sarah, Sleep Child in the chat. It's good to see you guys. Yeah, I'll really quickly talk about some stuff that I have coming up. So obviously the stream tonight. On the 22nd, which is a week from today, I'm playing Little Nightmares 2 with my mom in an ongoing series that we've been doing, which is really fun. If you know my mom, she's like, honestly, my mom should be a streamer. Like, I should not be the one who's streaming. She's so reactive and like so great with like chat and everything. So those are super fun. I think that's the 3rd time we'll be doing that. And then on the 29th, which is 2 weeks from today on a Saturday, I'm playing Lasers and Feelings. With my friends Rachel and Jason, who have been on stream before, and then Troll Mila, who's in the chat, and I believe actually did a gifted sub, which I'm just seeing, so thank you so much, Mila, for the gifted sub. And yeah, they're gonna be on this stream on the 29th. That's gonna be great. And then on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I've been playing Pokemon Snap, I just started playing Minecraft for the first time. That's super fun. I could very easily see myself playing that a lot more. And then also I've been playing Phoenix Wright and working on my voices, my character voices. One other thing that I'll say before we get right into the adventure tonight is you'll notice I'm trying something new. There's no music playing on stream, which sometimes there's no music playing on stream because my internet won't let me, but tonight it is a deliberate choice. There's an album that I really thought would go perfectly with this one-shot. And obviously I can't play it because I'll get a copyright strike on my channel. So if you want to listen for yourself to this album, I did put the Spotify link in chat. The album is called Mother Earth's Plantasia. It's like an electronic, like kind of funky 70s soundtrack. I think it would pair perfectly well with this particular adventure. So if you want to listen at home, feel free to listen along to that. Or just enjoy a musicless stream, because I know sometimes that's kind of nice too. Also, all of the people who are playing tonight are amazing streamers, and you should 100% follow them. All of their links are in chat. Dreamy's, for some reason, formatted wrong, so let me fix that. Let me pull up my bot. I'll fix that once they're talking, but I'll pull it up so I remember. But the reason why I had these people on tonight is because I think they're all wonderful. So you should absolutely give them all a follow. If, a lot of you in chat are already following various members of people here tonight. But if you're not, you totally should. And with that, I will say let's get into it. Let's play as these funky little plants. Let me pull my notes over here so I know what I'm doing. So, the players tonight, the three of you are houseplants that live in a small apartment with a human woman, her cat, and many other houseplants. At some point in time, long before you remember, a great mage unleashed a wave of magic that turned certain plants sentient. These plants are known as the Great Flora, and you three are lucky enough to share an apartment with one of these plants who has imbued the plants here with sentience, and the three of you specifically with magical powers. You three shared a sunny windowsill with the Great Succulent, who taught you many of her ways up until very recently. Your caretaker, the woman that you live with, you've noticed she's been home a lot more over the past, like, year or so, which is kind of weird. Like, you don't really know what's up with that. And she's also gotten particularly fussy with the houseplants of the house. Sometimes she waters you in the morning, and then while she's eating her lunch, she looks over at you, and you can hear her wonder to herself if she's watered you yet, and then waters you again. You know that other plants in the house have complained that she keeps moving them around to, like, different rooms in the apartment for seemingly no reason. And yesterday, she picked up the Great Succulent and took her away. You don't know where to, but as of today, you all feel your powers fading and are worried about her safety. So that's kind of the setup for tonight, and I'll let each of you, if you want to, introduce the chat and the viewers tonight to your characters, and I'll let whoever wants to go first can go first.
I'll go first. So my character's name is Widow, and she is actually a widow thrill succulent, which is this green leafy succulent with big blooming flowers on the top. And she's a fairly new plant to the windowsill into the house. So she's still in a nursery pot. Yeah, that's a little bit about her, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go next. I play George, which is one of those like basic cheap cactuses that you get at Walmart where they have the glued flower on. George has been on the windowsill and in the house for a while before this whole plant phase thing started, and has seen a lot.
Excellent.
I'm Gnome. I'm a bear paw succulent, which is like a fuzzy succulent that looks like literally a bear's paw. I haven't been around for super long, but I have been around long enough to have my own pot. I live in a nice terracotta pot. However, sometimes I like to get naked and walk around on my roots.
Yes. I'm
Succulents these days.
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this. Is there anything? I think I'll throw it over to the three of you. To what do you think? Do you think you have like a conversation with each other, or what do you think your reaction is? As I think all three of you at once feel these like powers that you have. Like, you know, Gnome, you maybe don't feel as like your roots feel a little bit weak. Like you feel like, hey, normally I can like walk around totally fine, but like, you know, you're kind of stepping around and you know, you feel a little quiver in one of your roots and you're like, oh, that's weird. And you know, yeah, what do you think? Do you think the three of you have did Streamlabs okay. For some reason I just thought Streamlabs completely shut down, but for some reason my windows just moved. I don't know why that happened. I'll throw it over to you to see like if you want to describe how you're feeling when you feel that, or if you are having a conversation with each other, or like what you're doing when that happens. I'll kind of leave it open-ended for you to have a reaction.
I think I haven't said anything yet, but only because instead of like thinking about the Great Succulent first, I was worried that maybe something was wrong with me. Since our owner has been sticking around a lot more and has been watering us more, I thought that maybe because of her, she was giving us root rot. So I was just trying my best to like air out my roots.
Yeah.
so that I wouldn't get root rot. But now that the Great Succulent has been away for like a bit of time, now I'm getting concerned that maybe it's something deeper than that.
Yeah. So Gnome, you're kind of like, I imagine you're kind of like sitting on the edge of the window, so like facing in, with your little roots kind of like waving, kind of getting aired out, maybe looking close at your roots to say like, oh, is that root rot? No, I think that's just a little piece of dirt.
Yeah.
Widow would probably be confused, and she'd look at the other plants on the windowsill like, it's really sunny. Why don't I feel as energetic as I usually do? It's like first thing in the day, like start of the day, right?
Yeah, I think it's like pretty like first thing in the morning.
Yeah, like it's not that cloudy and it feels really warm, but I don't feel as bubbly as I normally do.
I feel like George is napping.
Yeah.
Snoozing.
Do you think George still has the fake like cactus flower glued to her head?
Yeah, she is hanging on to that.
I wish it could be like a top hat at this point where you can just take it off for flourish and you know.
I think she's very concerned. Like if anything like disturbs it, she just like tries to readjust on top of her head again. Like
so good.
Yeah.
She's probably just like napping, feeling lethargy, and being like, this feels a little familiar.
So you think George already kind of knows what's going on?
I think because she had been before there was sentience, like she's like, back in the simple days.
The simple days, the good old simple days.
The good old simple days without this newfangled magic. But I think she might even initiate the conversation saying like, gnome with the roots on like, what you doing with your roots hanging out? Like
Well, first of all, George, let me just say that I always have my roots out because why not? If I can. But also, I feel like, I don't know what's up with our owner, why she's like been hanging around so much, but I'm very concerned that she is maybe taking care of us too much to the point where we all might need to air our roots. We're succulents, so we don't need that much water, but she's been watering us sometimes like twice a day.
Listen, kid, this isn't overwatering. I've been there at the Great Flood of 2006. This ain't a flood. It probably have to do with that uppity one. You know, the one that taught us all that magic. What's her face?
The Great Succulent.
That one. She hasn't
Wizard.
been around in a while, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
suspicious.
Is the Great Succulent that important?
I mean, they're amazing. They taught me everything I've ever known. Before I got here, I was just a plant.
Listen, without the Great Succulent, you would be wandering around on those roots all day, I'll tell you that much. Be in your pot like a normal plant.
George, you usually are pretty grumpy on the windowsill. Is this what depression is, or is this something else?
I don't know if I want to self-diagnose or anything.
Yeah. You know what, George? Since you've been around so long, why aren't you the Great Succulent?
Ooh.
Yeah, George, why aren't you the Great Succulent?
You've been around longer than the Great Succulent.
Yeah.
So shouldn't you be the Great Succulent?
Wouldn't that be something? But you know, I was very content in my my days where all you had to do was photosynthesize and not have to worry about this magic hoo-ha. But you know, if you got it, use it, right?
Or even if you aren't the Great Succulent, can't you take over being the Great Succulent now because you've been here for so long?
A new Great Succulent. Oh my gosh. Congratulations, George. That's amazing. So do we call you Great Succulent George?
No, I don't.
George?
I'm way too old for management positions. Nuh-uh. I'm retired. I am not taking over for Great nothing. But I will go and find the Great Succulent so I don't have to do anything but sit on this windowsill anymore. So, look.
Okay.
But out of all of us, don't you know the most?
I mean,
you always know where to find things too. Like, I lose stuff all the time, and you can point it out in the room like at any point.
Yeah, I mean, the lady like leaves her stuff all around. It's not very hard to find unless the cat's kicked it under the couch. I think we're pretty good on where it is. It's not a very big place.
True.
Yeah, I think mentioning, you know, this is not a very big place. Before stream we talked about this, and now I'm gonna put you on the spot. This game is super rules light. So there's like, everyone just has like 2 stats, and as a result, it's like I wanted this to be like really collaborative, and not have it just be like me telling you like this is what the apartment looks like and da 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 da. So I think now that you kind of established these wonderful characters, I love all of you so much. I think if you want to establish some things that are true about the apartment that you all live in, whether that's like maybe another plant that's there that you know, or a piece of furniture, or a habit of like the human that you live with, or anything that you kind of want to establish to be true. And these can be things that that will be helpful for you, or like, you know, if you want to be spicy, they can be things that that might be obstacles for you all. I'll leave it up to you. Did any of you have things in mind for something that you want to be true?
So I think the bathroom has no window. Most apartment bathrooms do not have windows, I feel. And we may have all been taken into the bathroom to get watered, but our owner has never left us in the bathroom, which would be certain death.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you get forgotten in the bathroom, then that's it for you as a plant. I feel like because she's been collecting so many plants, it's just like random tables and pots everywhere. So it's very disorganized, very green, but very disorganized.
Yes.
What room are we in like the main room, the living room of the apartment?
So I mean, as a very lazy person, I just styled this after my apartment, which I live in a very tiny apartment. So for and this can be up to you. You can make this not true since I haven't really established things. So for my apartment, like I basically we have our bedroom and our bathroom, and then all the rest of it is one room. So our living room and kitchen is like one thing. So I was imagining it was like a kitchen windowsill, like connected to like the living room and like, you know, where like the TV and everything is. But if you want that to not be the case, that's totally fine. I left it up to you.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Yeah.
I can see that for apartment, just kind of like that open area, and then the bedroom and the bathroom.
Yeah.
Especially if she's just living alone with the cat. Like...
Yeah, I was picturing that maybe the litter box is in the living room, and like all cats, it's not great at scattering it everywhere. So probably the floors, if not constantly swept, is like littered with cat litter constantly.
Paige, are you in my apartment right now?
No, but I'm definitely in my house where there are several cats making a mess as we speak.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's great. And as we go through, that's definitely not like the only time you get to establish something. But I think those are all great things. And I think as you're all talking, kind of going off of that whole, you know, some of the things you established, I think there's a fiddly fig, that's like kind of off to the side, not super far away from you, like maybe on the other side of the kitchen counter, in like an area of sunlight, like there's kind of a window over there. And you're all kind of talking about the Great Succulent, and maybe George will be the Great Succulent, and George feels like maybe battling her, like, desire to be right about things versus her non-desire to be in charge of things.
I want to complain. I don't want to leave.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. I think this fiddly fig kind of pipes up and says, "Oh, were you all talking about the Great Succulent?"
Oh, great. You got the fig going again. Good job.
Oh. What do you know about the Great Succulent, Figgy?
Figgy says, "Oh, well, the other day I saw the caretaker. She picked up the Great Succulent and, I hate to say this, but headed towards the bathroom."
Oh no.
You don't think she was just watering the Great Succulent?
Figgy looks around and says, "Well, I don't see the Great Succulent anywhere, so maybe she's in the bedroom, but I heard the bathroom door open and close."
Well, isn't that
But she's never left one of us before.
Well, there's a first time for everything.
Gosh, I think we should go save her. Especially considering George doesn't want to take the promotion. I think the best course of action is to hunt her down and bring her back to the windowsill.
Yeah, but it'll keep me from having to, you know, be bothered all the time with big decisions. I'll go for it. Let's
and George, besides, like, you don't move around too often, getting down from the windowsill, it might be good exercise for all of us.
Okay, wait. I just want to say something really fast. And no offense to either of you guys, but you two aren't necessarily the most mobile plants I've ever seen, okay? You guys are waddling around in your pots. You don't even consider the thought of getting out of your pot to move. I don't know how we're supposed to do a rescue mission when I'm like 2 feet ahead of you and you're just waddling behind me in your pots.
You know what, Gnome? I think you're right, and I have something to confess. I think I'm stuck in my nursery pot, and I might need your help getting out of it if we're gonna really take the plunge.
Wait, are you saying that you're root bound?
I might be. I don't know. She never took me out. She kept me in here, and that's great and all, and I've done super well, but yeah, I don't know if I can get it off.
This is what happens when you get too many goddamn plants and you don't manage any of them.
I know she just probably wanted the perfect pot for me and she hasn't found it yet, but yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love Widow so much. So optimistic. Yeah, and I think the two of you who are in pots, you know, as Gnome pointed out, not like the most mobile, but you can still get around. You know, you can kind of do the like wobble thing if you need to, but maybe not the most dexterous.
Okay, I'd be willing to help you, Widow. But what about you, George?
It ain't natural being out of the plot, I'll tell you that much. I'm really content in this dollar store pot that I've had for the past couple of years.
George,
I'll get around just fine, Missy. Don't worry. I got it.
But George, all those plants outside are naked. Don't you think we should be too?
I am not like those plants out there, okay? I am an indoor plant only.
I don't know, George. They seem to be thriving pretty well out there. And then if I miss a watering, I start shriveling up inside. So I don't know what that says about us. I've seen you get a little bit dry sometimes too. Don't pretend that you haven't.
Okay, yeah, there's been a couple droughts every now and then. I'll admit.
I don't know, Gnome. Do you really think this is the hill you want to wilt on? I mean, we can persuade him another time.
Okay, fine. George, I guess you can stay in your pot. I'm just saying.
If the pot becomes a problem, I'll get out of the pot. But the pot ain't a problem right now, so
Pot's not a problem. Pot's not a problem.
Pot's not a problem.
Okay. Have it your way. But if we can't find the Great Succulent, you have to take over.
Oh, God.
Agreed.
We just don't know the same amount of magic that you do.
Mm-hmm.
I miss the simple days where all you had to do was see the sun and photosynthesize and try not to die. All right. Let's get Widow situated and then we'll head on out.
Yeah, are you gonna try to get, is that the first order of business, to try to get Widow out of her pot?
Yeah.
Do you all have kind of a plan of action, or like, what do you think you're doing for the
George,
attempt?
I say we both do a pull method. You pull from one side, I pull from the other side.
Okay, this is my question. We are plants. Do we have hands?
Yes, there are roots.
You do have roots.
Okay.
You also do have magic powers, so if you can think of a way to utilize, your magic in some way, you absolutely can rope that in.
Like a old pair of jeans that you're trying to squeeze into. I think the first thing Widow's going to do is try to use her magic to like wrap up where the base meets the pot and try to like suck in a bit, make it a little easier.
Yeah, cool. I think what we'll do is each of you go ahead and roll. So you'll roll a d6, and this is basically, so I mentioned for the benefit of chat, there's really only 2 stats, and this is a roll under system. So the stats are resist, which we'll get to at some point, I'm sure, and then raw magic. So whenever a character wants to use an ability or wants to do something difficult, which I think this pulling a root-bound plant out of her pot, I think is something difficult, you roll raw magic. So I think what I'll say is since each of you are contributing to this, each of you go ahead and roll raw magic. And if 2 of you succeed, so one of you can fail, and that's totally fine. If 2 of you roll at or below what your raw magic score is, you'll be able to pull this pot off. If you fail, you could possibly inadvertently hurt Widow by trying to pull this off.
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh no.
The quest hasn't even started and we already
Immediately.
release someone injured.
Yeah, so go ahead and roll your d6 and let me know if you succeeded or failed, because all of you have different raw magic scores.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a 5.
Okay.
I got a 4, which is definitely a failure for me.
Yeah. And I think a 5 is a failure as well.
I got a 3, which is a success because I think mine is 3.
Okay. So I'll say since not everybody failed, the pot definitely does not come off, but George, you're kind of like pulling and monitoring the situation, and you see like you can see like the pot, and like you're kind of like looking into the dirt, and you can see like the edges of the pot starting to like scrape up against Widow's roots, and are kind of like, okay. So Widow, you're not going to take any damage. But the pot is very firmly stuck on, probably just pulling, like trying to pull the pot off. Doesn't seem like it's going to work with magical help or not, this particular method.
gosh, this is definitely a wake-up call. So I'm gonna have to start moving more like a gnome because this is embarrassing, frankly.
Okay. Widow, sorry about your root situation, but George, I think I have a solution for us that only you can do.
Oh, do tell, because this horse and pony show wasn't working initially, so I'm ready for whatever suggestion you got.
Okay, George, I've noticed that you can use objects with your magic.
Mm-hmm.
Or something along those lines. So I was thinking, could you not use scissors? And since it's a nursery pot, it is plastic, so we should be able to cut through it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We could, but the question comes, like, what are we gonna do when she needs a new pot? Unless we're gonna go and cut down Figgy over there. Which, I mean,
Figgy
hears
this and says, "Hey, what the hell, man?
You're not a part of this." Anyways, yeah, let's do it. I don't mind it.
Our caretaker has pots everywhere. Widow can have her choice of pot, okay?
All right. I look around for the kitchen scissors, that I assume would be around. If not, I'll use a knife or something.
Yeah, I think there is a pair of kitchen scissors. I think the main obstacle right now between you and the kitchen scissors is you are on a little you're on like a little windowsill. I think directly in front of that is the sink. And then kind of off to the side is like the counter where like there's a crock with like some different utensils. So I think if you want to make your way over to the kitchen scissors, I think I'll again have you roll raw magic to see if you can make your way over there without falling into the sink or, you know, something like that.
Okay. That was a 2. Okay. So
that's a success then. Yeah, so I mean, Gnome has kind of been like, you know, talking smack about your maneuverability, and you just kind of like hop over and like just like it's not a long drop from the counter like to the windowsill. The long drop would be into the sink, but you kind of like hop over and like very like solidly like land with a little thud from the bottom of your pot and like kind of maneuver your way over very deftly, yeah, over to the kitchen scissors.
She's like grumbling the whole time. My pots and roots are a little too old.
You're doing great, George.
God damn, I was planning on taking a good old nap today, but I guess not for me. She'll go over to the scissors and using, I guess, the summon memories to try and summon some sort of spirit to like come and cut it, like a spectral hand almost to kind of cut off
that. Yeah, I think that's great.
Thing. Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and just for people who can't see the rules, do you want to read that ability so they kind of know a little bit of the flavor?
So once per scene, you can choose a lost item that you have found from the yard and summon its powers. Example, a lost piece of dog color could summon a spectral dog to help. You can roll a number of d6 equal to your raw magic score and see how well your summoning goes.
Cool. Yeah, and I think to kind of tie in the flavor of like you're finding lost things, I think you're kind of in your mind going like, now I know our caretaker was grumbling about these kitchen scissors, but I'm pretty sure they're just like in the like the crock is like this big and the kitchen scissors are like a little bit shorter, and you're like, I think if I dug around a little bit I'd be able to find these kitchen scissors. So you see them in there. Yeah.
She put him in the wrong spot, and I'm like, why did she show us this tracker stuff? You think you put her in the right spot because it's labeled.
Yeah, go ahead and roll your 3d6 to try to summon this spectral hand.
Is it just 1d6 or?
It's a number of d6 equal to your raw magic score. So your raw magic score is 3, so you get to roll 3.
Oh, okay.
And I'll say you're rolling raw magic. So again, like if you fail all 3, this probably is not going to be good for Widow. And if you get 2 or 3 under 3, then it'll be better and better.
Yeah. So it's a 4, a 2, and a 3.
Okay, so that's 2 successes. Yeah, I think you kind of what does it look like as you summon this spectral hand to grab these missing kitchen scissors and I think successfully cut Widow out of the pot.
I feel like the little flower on top just kind of like does the like little sparkle and then like the like spectral hand comes out of it to grab the scissors and go over and like cut the pot open.
Yeah. Yeah, you do that. Widow, how does it feel as your roots finally have a little room to move around?
It's freeing. It's quite liberating, let me tell ya. And her flowers will like kind of open up and bloom a bit more after she stands up on her roots without the nursery pot underneath her this time.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of do you immediately just step out of the pot? Are you also naked like
yeah, I imagine Widow would think of it as being naked, and I've never been to a nudist colony, but I'm sure she'll be a little uncomfortable initially, and so
yeah, you
covering up some roots.
Yeah, you dust off your roots, step out of the pot. Yeah, and that's first great success. You got everyone at the level of mobility that they prefer to be at. What's I think out ahead of you can now see, well, George especially, because you're like kind of on the counter, so you kind of look out and can see out ahead of you, the living room. There's a couch, a TV, there's some shelves on the wall with like various knickknacks and other plants. I think you kind of, like getting a lay of the land, feel like there's kind of 2 main methods that you could use to get to the bathroom. The first would be getting completely down off the counter, making it to the floor, and making your way that way. The other would be maybe trying to jump along some of these shelves. Like a lot of them are relatively close together. There's like some, there's maybe a part where like you could jump down onto the couch at some point and like kind of land on something soft. But definitely a lot more jumps that are less risky as opposed to just trying to get down off the counter, which is a pretty, I mean, for the size that all of you are, considerable drop, but once you're down there, the going might be a little bit easier.
I think we should go along the shelves, because while me and Widow are very mobile right now, once again, George, if you take a spill off that counter, you're done for. Your pot's gonna shatter, and your roots are gonna get all sliced up.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a bad situation if that happens.
Yeah, and I'd hate for you to lose your flower.
Yeah,
the
your flower would probably
important.
get severed.
The flower is very important. I was about to say that seems like an awful lot of acrobatics and jumping around, but you're right. The flower needs to be protected. Okay, I'm good with that.
Cool. I think I'll say between like your magic and and George is kind of able to help you. I think you the other 2 of you, I'm not gonna have you roll to try to get over to the counter since there's somebody already there to help you along, and you're a little bit more mobile than George is, so it might be a little bit easier. So yeah, you are able to make it over onto the counter, and the first shelf I think is a little bit of a jump, but not too crazy far. Do any of you have ideas for like something specific that you're wanting to do to try to make it across? Do you have one of you who wants to go first or anything like that?
How far is it?
I think it's probably like, imagining the counter, it's probably like some kind of like spice rack maybe. So it's like a pretty narrow shelf, but it's like over the counter and maybe, or not over the counter, but maybe like a little bit to the side. So maybe like this far of a jump, which is, not terrible for a plant.
Could we, for the sake of George anyways, could we maneuver a spatula so that we could make like a little ramp onto the spice rack?
Yeah.
me and Widow could easily carry it, one on each end.
Yeah.
And then that way we can protect George, who is potentially our next Great Succulent.
Yeah, I really like that. I think, again, like, for stuff like this, the nature of this game, like, I'm not just gonna make you roll for, like, every single little thing you want to do. I think that's a solid plan. It's a creative idea. And the two of you have, like, more, like, army type things and, like, leg type things. So yeah, you two kind of grab this spatula and make a little ramp. And between the three of you, I think you're able to make it over to this spice rack. And I think actually you can go that way for a little while. Like if you pull the spatula behind you and then kind of get it over onto the next thing. The next probably area. So you go to a spice rack. I think then there's another shelf that's like a little bit of a drop down. You kind of pull the spatula over there. I think the next thing is a wider thing. I think you're kind of out of the kitchen area and transitioning over to, I think the entertainment center is the next thing. So there's like a long shelf with like some knick-knack type of things. You go across that long shelf and then there's like maybe like this far of a gap between the knick-knack shelf and then a downward jump down to the entertainment center.
That looks a little wide for a spatula, but that's just me.
Yeah, the spatula probably won't work. But the lady of the house, she's been buying a lot of books and not reading them and just stacking them here. So maybe we could rip up the paper. That won't work. Maybe we can stack them up on the ground.
That's true.
That could also be a lot of work.
She's also been really into knitting, but not really knitting, just pretending like she's gonna knit.
Okay,
so
I'm feeling personally attacked.
I say as I have my knitting basket upstairs and a half-finished scarf. Like,
the closet in the background is literally full of knitting yarn. We are all exposing ourselves. We are all exposing ourselves.
I wanted this to be based on my apartment, but not to this degree.
So maybe we can like tie up that knitting needle, toss it over, and get it stuck good enough. It might make a yarn.
And we could use the needles as like grappling hooks and slide down.
That seems really cool. If push comes to shove, I'll summon my big spike and we can just fire like firefighters, just whoop right down.
That's good too. I thought you were about to say if push comes to shove, we'll just push you.
Shove some off. Yeah, I think any of those things could work. I think the main thing that you would have to figure out if you're trying to acquire something like the knitting or a book or something like that is I don't think those things are on the shelf that you're on. I think there's a lot of little like figurines and like stuff like that, which I mean, there's definitely options of things that you could do. You could try to enlist the help of another plant. You could try to use your powers. You could try to, I mean, there's a cat here. You could try to do something, get the cat's attention and have the cat help you somehow. I think any of those options could work. I think you just maybe need to come up with a way to get the raw materials that you need to take the plan.
Wait a second. Figgy is pretty tall. Why can't he come and just give us a ride?
Figgy looks at you and says, "Oh, if any of you were to even touch one of my leaves, I fear they'd all fall off."
He's so sensitive.
You really had to get Figgy going again. You really had to get him going again. Now we're going to hear about his leaves all day long.
Why, it was only yesterday that the
No one cares, Figgy!
Sniffed at my roots and a leaf fell from my trembling branches.
You know what, Figgy? Would you rather lose a couple leaves or would you rather be dead? Huh? Because that's what's going to happen if we don't get the Great Succulent back.
Well, if I lose all my leaves, I'll be dead.
No, you can still grow some out of the top, Figgy.
No, you just be ugly. It's totally different.
He already is ugly.
Oh, George.
Well, now I'm not gonna help you.
Fine, Figgy. When you get overwatered, watch and see if I try to help you at all. I'll let you get root rot.
Figgy's whole, like, branch, like, the center branch just trembles and a leaf does fall off when you say that.
Oh, no! Despite that lack of success, good job, team, working together, bullying Figgy. I'm really proud of us.
You know, sometimes bullying is the answer, so it's just
So far, what is it? You said pot is good or something?
Pot is good!
Bullying is sometimes the answer.
Just quote it above each of us, just anything writing. Pot is good, bullying is the answer.
Yeah. You gotta bully NPCs. You just have to.
Very true.
Well, the great succulent taught me about the essence, which is kind of like the force or like life, and it flows through all of us, and she could control it and I can control it. We all control it, but I'm really good at it. And I think with the flowing of life, maybe we can get the cat, who hasn't been very helpful to us in the past, maybe we can get it to play with the string from the yarn and bring it over to us.
Cat
I don't know
does like the yarn.
Yeah, I think you kind of are looking at, and the cat, as you've been talking, I think the cat doesn't quite understand, like, I feel like the communication style is pretty different. I think plants and bugs can probably communicate because, like, bugs do have a lot of, like, nonverbal communication and, like, you know, touch their antennas together and, like, can smell things. So I think plants and bugs, there's some degree of communication. Cats, I don't think there's a direct level of communication, but I think I mean, you've all been moving around, you know, and the cat can see that. So I think as you're talking, you look over, and I think the couch is, like, kind of across the way from you, maybe, like, on the other side of the wall, and the cat is just sitting on the couch, just, like, looking at you. I think the thing that always weirds me out about my cat and cats in general is the pupil dilation, because when they're in a dark room and their pupils are nice, it's like, oh, what a friendly cat. This cat is, like, kind of sitting, there's a ray of sun, tiny pupils, very unsettling, just looking at you.
There's, like, little figurines in the shelf, right?
Yes, yeah.
Can I grab, like, one of the little figurines and kind of, like, wave it like you would for a cat, like to get its attention?
Yeah, I think there's, like, a little plushie on the shelf, and so you kind of do, like, grab this little plushie, and as soon as you pick it up, the cat's immediately, like, looking specifically at you and specifically at the plushie.
Like, the thing that I'm not allowed to have because it's on the shelf.
Right, yeah.
And I want to toss it at the yarn.
Yeah.
To see if we can get it to go to the yarn.
Yeah. I think. I'm trying to decide if I should have you roll for this. I think I'm going to have the cat roll to resist. To resist this. Yeah,
our charm.
Yeah, charm. And I think the cat is only gonna has to get a 1 or a 2 to not go along with what you're saying. I'll have the cat roll against you. And the cat got a 6. So you toss this into the yard, the cat dives over, and then, like, this is not really how all cats typically behave, but I think gets, like, tangled up in the yarn, and then, like, makes her way back over towards you as if to be like, oh, let's play, like, I'm gonna try to get this thing back to you. And there's a nice big pile of yarn, kind of, that she's wrapped herself up in, that's ready for people to jump down into, if that's the plan.
Well, that could be an option. It is a soft place to land.
Or it's at least closer, so if you have, like, a magical thing you want to do to get it, you know, to use it as rope.
I mean, our whole plan is to kind of get down to the ground, so might not be a bad idea. It is a soft landing.
I'll go for it. I'll go first.
Cool. I think...
George, since you're delicate, you should go last.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is gonna be probably a resist roll, unless you're using your magic in some way, because this is something where if you land poorly, you'll take damage. Unless you want to get your spikes involved and turn it into, like, a raw magic roll. That's up to you. I know raw magic is better for you. So,
Oh
if
yeah,
you
my
wanna...
resist is really bad.
Yeah, you'd have to get a 1 to not take damage.
Okay. Maybe I'll just do it my way and summon my one giant spike so that I can like just slide down it like a firefighter.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, go ahead and roll raw magic then. So if you get a 4
Okay.
or lower, then you'll succeed.
Okay. I got a 4.
Perfect. Yeah, you like look down and you're like,
Okay.
you know, my roots are feeling a little tender right now. I don't know, like imagining the feel of like the impact of when you jump down from something too high. And you, what does it look like as you summon this big spike to kind of the center of where this yarn
all
is?
of my roots start like trembling, and then they all like lift up so that it looks like my roots are doing like a split, but also vertical.
Like kind of like the Starbucks logo.
Yeah, like the Starbucks
Mermaid
mermaid.
legs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly like that. And as I'm like lifting up my roots, like the spike grows taller.
I just see her as like that Elmo like reaction image where there's the fire behind him and it's
Oh, I
like...
love that one.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you do that, and then I'm imagining like Lil Nas X style, just spin your way.
Yeah, just
down this spike with your roots kind of flowing behind you. Perfect. Yeah. Amazing. You make it down. What are the other two of you want to like? What's your tact? I think to get down here. You can definitely use the spike. The spike is still there. So if you just want to follow in Gnome's footsteps, you totally can do that. Or if you have something that is maybe better suited to the powers you have, that's cool too.
I think George will call down to Gnome and be like, can you move like the yarn around it so that there's a soft place in case this spike is stripper pole nonsense doesn't work out? I rather have like a backup.
Okay, George, I'll move it, I guess, if you want to be safe, you know.
Yeah.
So I walk over to the tangle of yarn and I try to like drag it because there's a lot of yarn, right?
Yeah.
So I like slowly drag it like towards the spike that I made. And kind of just make like a pile on one side of it. Okay, George, if you have to have a soft landing, you have to land on this side.
So I'm gonna slide down the pulpit on that side. Nothing fancy, just simple
Just
sliding.
straight down.
Yes, cool. I'll leave it up to you whether you want to do resist or if you're using I feel like this fits more as a resist because the spike isn't really your magic. It's more it's more Gnome's magic. But if you want to find a way to loop your magic in there, you can roll either. Your resist is not quite as bad as Gnome's is,
yeah.
but it's still not great.
It's kind of low. I think because there's not really a lost item, I'll just try for the resistance.
Cool, yeah, go ahead and
the
roll
best.
resist.
Okay, 2.
Okay. Yeah, you I think what happens, just because I love that you got exactly what you needed, I think you kind of start to, like, so I'm imagining, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm imagining your plant as like not like you're just a little dome cactus, so you don't have like the little arms or anything. So I imagine you kind of like try to hop over and like spin around or like grab the pole the way that Gnome did, but you just don't really have like you don't have the little bear paws. It's a little bit harder for you, and you don't have the roots. So I think what happens is you jump off the shelf and fall like parallel to the spike, but you're not really grabbing onto anything, and land like right in the center of this yarn. But you manage to do it in just the way where your pot isn't damaged, like you're not hurt at all. But it is scary. It's frightening.
I use my little roots to fix my flower.
Yeah, some of your roots come up very. Do you think when you use your roots like up out of the pot, do you think you're kind of like trying to be like discreet about it?
Yeah. You don't shoot your roots to everybody, okay? You had the succulents these days shooting their roots to everybody. No, we're gonna hide it behind, and we're gonna like just delicately, and then there's gonna go back underneath the rock.
You hear, like, from behind you, there's, like, I think there's, like, some other little plants. What would these be? Oh, I think there's some air plants, like, hanging down from the ceiling, you know, and the little things. And you hear a little titter of these air plants from way up above as they see your roots behind you, and they're like,
It's $2 an hour if you want another showing, but for now, keep your business. And she gets out of the yarn.
Yeah. Yeah, Widow, that just leaves you.
Mind you.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think for Widow, there's a lot of changing happening in one day. Now she doesn't have a pot, her roots are exposed. I think adding a spiked stripper pole is maybe one step too far for Widow. So I think I'm gonna have her use her convert essence feature, which is once per scene, you can choose to increase your resistance or raw magic by taking 1 point and putting it into the other. So I have a resistance of 4 and a raw magic of 1. I'm gonna take that 1 raw magic and throw it over to resistance and just take the plunge.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think? Do you think, like, I'm imagining that looks like you kind of like stealing yourself up, but like, what are you thinking, like, for that conversion? Like, what does that look like?
I was thinking the same thing. Is like, especially when it's converting from raw magic to a resist kind of feature, where it just, you see the roots thicken and strengthen, like everything kind of elongates a bit, and even like the flowers kind of close up, like anticipating like impact or force. So
yeah,
like, everything kind of like lengthens.
Yeah, go ahead and roll that resist. So
Okay.
you basically just don't want to get a 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because you have 5 in it. And
Yeah,
while
and
you're
I got
doing
a-
that, I'll really quickly. It's not that suspenseful. I'm pretty sure you succeeded. But Sierra did this, which I forgot to mention at the top of the stream. But you viewers will see on the overlay. If you tip with bits, you can change the story. So if you tip 200 bits, you can give a player -1 on their roll of their choice. So you would do it, and then at any point the player can decide to apply that -1. For 500 bits, you can give all players -1 to a roll of their choice. Or for 1,000 bits, I will add a complication to the game. So if you really want to cash in and make things harder for these, and why would you want to? Well, you would want to because all the tips are being split between the performers. So I'm making you choose between, you know, the performers' happiness and the happiness of the plants. So if at any point people want to use bits, you can absolutely do that.
It's a deficit now, but a bonus later.
Right. Exactly. And what's a story without a little conflict? Come on. But yeah, so Paige, if you want to go ahead and dramatically reveal.
It was a 2, so I think that succeeded.
Yeah, I think you like kind of like do like if you were a human, you would kind of be doing the little like nose plug as if you're about to dive off the diving board and just drop straight down and land in a nice little pile of yarn, and the 3 of you are on the floor. The immediate problem, however, is that the cat is also next to you, and I think because Gnome was the first one down, the cat's really sniffing at your leaves. They're looking real juicy to the cat right now, Gnome.
Oh no.
I don't want to hurt the cat in any way. I am, as a person who owns a cat, I would hate to hurt the cat, but
yeah.
In order to protect myself and my friends, I'll do like a little, I'll like run away just like a short bit, and I'll go ahead and use my spread spikes ability to just kind of create like a wall between us and the cat so that we can safely get through without the cat trying to like come at us.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and describe what that spread spikes is.
Okay, so once per scene, you can cause an area to immediately grow hard spikes and thorns. The area can cover an area of land that 3 individuals can fit in. The area must be beside each other. If an individual tries to move through, you can roll your raw magic. On a success, they become stuck.
Cool. Yeah, so I think when this happens, the big spike that you had coming out of the ground retracts as if it was never there, and in its place, this, like, you kind of, like, pull everyone away, and this wall of spikes comes up protecting you. The cat comes over to sniff, you know, like the way cats do when they're like, oh, what is this? And comes over to sniff at the spikes, and go ahead and roll your raw magic to see if you can keep the cat from coming after you.
I got a 2.
Okay, so good. That's a success. So the cat's not injured, but the one of the little spikes just like boop, like kind of boops on those, and the cat immediately like does the thing. Like, have you seen the videos where like somebody puts a cucumber behind a cat and the cat turns around and it just like scatters immediately, or like my cat jumping out of the litter box just like acts as if there is a demon behind her. That's basically what happens. The cat very cautiously sniffs your the little spike while you set up, and immediately runs the other direction and hides under the couch. Not injured, but freaked out.
You know what? I'm glad that worked, because if push came to shove, George, since you also are spiky, I would have just had to run behind you.
So you wanted me to die for that one?
George, no, you wouldn't have gotten hurt. You would have just been protecting us.
Sure, put the old timer in the line of fire. I get it.
George, you literally have spikes, okay? So.
Yeah, and we were voting beforehand, and you were the first one we were going to push. We agreed.
Oh, be the great succulent, George. Oh, no. Sacrifice yourself to the cat, George. Oh, no.
The great succulent always said you should lead by example. And I don't know what that means, so.
I love it. It's so wonderful. Yeah, I think you kind of continue on your way. You're definitely getting closer to where you know the bathroom is. But you pass by a plant that looks like not good. I think this is a plant that's in like kind of a big pot in a container. Let me think what kind of plant this would be. Maybe like a hibiscus that's kind of down on the ground and does not look very good. Like very like maybe the flower is like the hibiscus flower is like there's one flower and it's looking real wilty. And you looking at the soil of this hibiscus, it is way too overwatered. Not in the sun, like is kind of off like to the hallway, kind of where these other rooms are, the bedroom and the bathroom. Not looking good. And I think you also hear a little kind of like buzzing sound as you're going by, and the hibiscus kind of looks at you and says, "Oh, how are the three of you doing today? I haven't had visitors in a while." And I think the way that you do initiative for this game is very fun, and I'm excited to do it because combat begins with a game of rock, paper, scissors between the garden master and one of the players. And whoever wins gets to decide who goes first between the players in the opposition. So I think before I describe, it looks like it's Dreamy. No, they did nose goes. So Dreamy, you and I are gonna play rock, paper, scissors. And depending on how that goes, I'll narrate, what happens. So, yeah, I hope there's not too bad of a lag that this is gonna make rock, paper, scissors weird. But do you want to go on rock, paper, scissors, shoot? I feel like people always do it differently.
I usually go on rock, paper, scissors, but we can do shoot. It doesn't matter.
Let's do shoot. That's because I won't mess it up.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, both scissors. Okay, let's go again. Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay, you guys need to stop sharing the brain cell. One of you needs to grab it.
Good. This is good. Okay. Eight rounds later.
Wait. Okay. Redo that one, because I saw you doing it, but then I was like, wait, no one is verbalizing anything, so I had to stop us before we did anything. Okay. Wait. Oh, wait, hold on. I can't I can't hear you, Taylor. Wait.
Oh.
I can hear Tisha.
Oh, I
Oh,
can't hear
yeah.
her either.
I can hear Taylor either.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, I'm glad I stopped.
I say you go paper next, see what happens.
I see you go paper, but you actually go like
You go
rock.
scissors, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
These are all the mental
Oh,
games.
gosh.
It's working.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I still can't hear you.
Man.
I wonder if it'd be
Right when I
easier
was
just
about
to
to
do.
win, too.
I know, right? You're just lulling her into a sense of security, getting in her
Yeah.
head.
Command, the music she suggested is so bubbly and bouncy. I'm grooving.
Yeah,
So good. Yes.
that's really good.
That's not the mic I want. Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yeah.
yep,
Okay.
yes.
I don't know what happened. Everything was plugged in. Zoom just said, we can't hear your mic anymore. And I can't, I still don't know if chat can hear me or not, but, okay, so let's do rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
For as long as this mic is working. Dreamy, this time you can call it, because I've been calling it.
Okay, so rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay, you get to go first. I did paper again.
Yay!
And Taylor, your audios are all good on stream. I can hear you on stream.
Okay, cool. That's good. Yeah, Zoom just for some reason was like, we don't want to hear your microphone anymore. Cool. So what happens? The thing that has prompted this initiative roll, as it is you all heard this kind of faint buzzing sound. And I'll say gnome because you were the one who did the rock, paper, scissors. You see every plant in this house's worst nightmare, which are those little tiny flies that when a plant is overwatered. Yeah, the little gnats. And which are like, as soon as one plant has them, you know they are so easy for other plants to get. And this very droopy looking hibiscus is sitting there kind of sadly as you're all going past it and says, oh, it's been a while since I've had visitors, and trying to be like kind of peppy. And you see these gnats rise up out of the dirt. And I think, I'm trying to decide if that's a good place to take a break, because it's been about an hour, and this game is probably only going to be like 2 hours. So I think that's a good spot for us all to take a quick break. And I think 10 minutes. We'll take a 10-minute break. So we'll be back at 7:53. To figure out how this goes.
See, this is why you don't talk to strangers.
Yeah.
I don't like those plants. I don't like those on the floor plants. You know, they're different from us countertop plants.
There's a hierarchy.
A hierarchy.
Yes.
They're all high mic.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and take us over to I'll be on our break screen, and while on the break screen, I have the promos for each of the players. So each of them have their little bios and their little pictures. And I will put their handles in the chat again, so you can give them a follow while we're on break. And we'll see you all in 10 minutes. See you soon. Felicitations, adventurers! We are back with the second half of our stream of Succulent Sorcerers. I am so excited. The first half was so much fun. I'm very excited to see what happens next with these players. First, we're going to just do really quick reintroductions for anybody who missed introductions at the top of the stream. My name is Taylor. I am the DM, GM, garden master, plant master for this channel. I play a lot of tabletop games, and I specifically do, I call them serialized one-shots, which is basically like, I'll do a one-shot in a system with players, and then it's a self-contained story, so like everything that happens for Succulent Sorcerers tonight is all gonna get wrapped up tonight. But if these players want to come back and play like this game again, or play one of the other plant-based games, we could do something else that is like the same you know, kind of the same like universe, but it's still its own self-contained story. So I also have played Mouse Ritter a couple of times, Dungeons and Dragons, and what I have coming up is on the 29th, I believe, which is a Saturday. I'm playing Lasers and Feelings with some people. That'll be like a single one shot. And when I'm not playing tabletop games, sometimes I do like D&D prep for my home game on stream, or like, you know, prep for different stuff, or build maps, or like do characters. But a lot of times I'm playing video games. So I've been playing Minecraft, I've been playing Phoenix Wright, and I've been playing Pokemon Snap. So that's what I do on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then on Saturdays, I change it up. I do a one shot. I sometimes do solo tabletop games, or next Saturday, I'm playing Little Nightmares 2 with my mom, which has been very fun. We've been doing that about once a month. But that's enough about me. I want to hear more from my wonderful guests tonight so they can tell you a little about what they do on their channels. And last time we started with Dreamy, so this time we are going to start with Tisha. Do you want to tell everyone about yourself and your channel?
Yes, I am Tisha, otherwise known as Captain Freestar. I have my own solo channel, Captain Freestar, but I also stream with a team on Twisted Team. In fact, we're going to be doing some more Resident Evil 8 tonight. Ooh. So going to continue with that story because we've been obsessed. I do on my own channel a whole variety of streams. I do art on Tuesdays, and I usually try to do a mix between some multiplayer games and some single form games. Like I do Digimon on Fridays, and I think I'm going to start playing Papers, Please. That's my next stream that I'm planning. So we'll see how it goes. But catch us on Twisted Team as well on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. All right.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, Paige, same question. Over to you.
Yeah, you girls are busy. Wow. I'm Paige. I don't have a streaming schedule like that, but on my channel, everyone calls me Dungeon Mom because I am a nearly full-time dungeon master for Dungeons and Dragons. On Wednesday nights, we stream a persistent homebrew campaign that we like to call Don't Split the Party. It's with my closest friends and family we've been playing now for 6 years all together, kind of the same table, and we've known each other for a really long time. So what tends to happen is we're very chaotic, we're very casual, and it's a really good laugh. And then on Sunday nights, I have an Ask Your Dungeon Mom stream, which is typically Q&A, like kind of just chatting stream with everybody. And we talk Dungeons and Dragons and other RPGs and tips and tricks for new DMs, new players, and beyond. And then occasionally I mix in a few video games. So my next stream is tomorrow night. We're going to continue playing Emily is Away 3, which is a like Facebook simulator. And for any millennials, it is very, very realistic. Brought me back to my youth. So that's what we do over on my channel. And it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, awesome. And then Dreamy.
Okay, I'm Dreamy. I guess you can also call me Angela since that is my real name. I have mostly been streaming a lot of Nintendo games. Right now, the main game I'm playing is Animal Crossing. I also play Breath of the Wild, but I've been kind of taking a break just because new work-life balance is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I also used to play a lot of like JRPGs/RPGs, and I'm looking to probably sort of get back into that, but right now I'm just doing a lot of Nintendo.
Nothing wrong with Nintendo. I mean, that's
awesome.
my primary game system that I play. And the reason why I had these 3 players on tonight is because I love all of their content. Like you'll often see me hanging out in their chats. Honestly, not as often as I'd like. Sometimes I have to do other things. I'll see the go live notification and I'm like, I want to be watching. But they're all amazing. They all have really great content, and they're all really fun people. So I'm excited that they all made time to hang out tonight. If you're also enjoying this stream as much as I am, and you want to do something to support I like to say performers, because this is a performance. Like you're all doing like acting, you're all doing like, you know. So if you want to support the performers here tonight a little bit more, watching is already amazing, following is already amazing, but if you want that little extra, you can use bits, which is, if you're not familiar with Twitch is like insight currency, and you can use bits. Oops, I'm trying to type and talk at the same time. to affect the game tonight. So if you tip 200 bits, you can give a player -1 on a roll of their choice, which in this game is good. And if you're used to Dungeons and Dragons, that sounds not fun. But in this game, it's very good. For 500 bits, you can give all players -1. See, I'm even accidentally saying +1. You can give all the players -1 to a roll of their choice. And if you want to be, nice to the players, but mean to their characters, for 1,000 bits, I will add a complication to the game. I'll throw in a little bit of that drama. If you want to do any of those things, you can indicate when you do the bits, just like type in chat who you're, if it's 200 bits, who you're giving that -1 to, and you don't have to try to like time it. So if they're about to do a roll, you don't have to be like, oh, I want to do my bits now. You can do it whenever, and then the player will choose when they want to use that, when they want to use that boon. But yeah, thank you so much to everybody. Thank you so much to the players tonight, and thank you so much to everybody in chat for the follows. I'll go over those when I get to the credits. Oh, hey, we got a 500-bit donation. Thank you so much to Fafa Fifi Fufu for the 500 bits. So all of you, go ahead and make a note that you will have the option to subtract 1 from your score at some point. So when you're getting into those, which is good because we're about to get into a little bit of danger. So far, our plans tonight: made it safely off the counter, jumped from shelf to shelf, survived an encounter with the cat who kind of wanted to taste on some of Gnome's juicy little succulent leaves, and they're getting pretty close to the bathroom where they think the Great Succulent is, and have encountered this very wilty looking hibiscus plant, and as they got closer realized with horror that it was filled with fungus gnats, which are extremely contagious, not something that any plant wants. And luckily, Dreamy and I had a very hotly contested rock, paper, scissors fight. But Dreamy succeeded in the end, so all of you get to decide amongst yourselves, as you see this, who amongst you wants to act first, because the 3 of you get your slot, basically, in combat before I do.
Which one of us wants to go first between the 3 of us?
Yeah. If one of you has, like, a thing that you want to do as you're seeing these gnats coming towards you.
I do want to use my spread spikes ability again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that I can create a barrier between us and the gnats.
I'm down. That sounds like a great plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good. So go ahead and you have to roll raw magic, correct, to keep these gnats from coming at you. So go ahead and roll a d6 and let me know what you get. Why can't I find the rules? Here we go.
Okay, so I look at the hibiscus and I'm like, no wonder you've had no visitors. You're disgusting. And then I roll a 2.
Okay, that's good.
So the spikes form between us and the gnat plant.
Yeah,
the gnat infested plant.
So I think these spikes this time when they come out are a little bit like, you know how sometimes like cactuses or like plants with thorns, they can get like a little bit sappy and a little bit like sticky because these gnats are so small. You kind of like have these spikes come up and like form a line in front of you, and the first thing that happens is a bunch of these gnats get stuck to that, and there is a swarm, so they're still coming. That's not necessarily the end of everything because there's a bunch of these gnats, but at least for this first round, a good deal of them are going to be stuck. So let me think. I think that means that I'll let another one of you go. I think that's essentially losing a turn. Like, the first wave of these gnats can't make it through. So if one of the other 2 of you want to do something to act, you know, to see if you can take care of these gnats before they get to you, go for it.
Do you have something you'd like to do, Tisha?
I'm still thinking. Are we still near the couch?
Yeah, I think, I mean, for you, it's probably a little bit away. Like, I think maybe like between 5 and 10 feet away. Like, it's kind of on the other side of the room. So it's not, like, wildly far, but for the size that you are, you might have to take a turn headed that direction to make it over.
Okay, I think I might take my turn to head over there and get like a lost item from underneath the couch. So kind of go digging around under there.
Yeah, cool. Do you have an idea for what that lost item is, or are you giving yourself some time to think about it?
I think with the fact that it's going to take me a turn to get there, I'll...
Cool, yeah, so George...
just waddles away, grumbling like, just gotta go fancy with those tall plants down, couldn't have something simple over waters. And then, like, grumbles, I'll be back. I'm going to get the item.
Cool. Yeah, so I think then the next thing that's gonna happen is some of the gnats kind of are able to, like, they see, like, the first wave of gnats gets, like, stuck in, you know, in your thorns. The next wave of gnats that comes out is like, okay, we kind of see what that is, and fly over. And I think I'm gonna say for I think Widow, go ahead and roll me a resist.
Okay. So I'm currently at 5 resist.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I shouldn't have picked you.
So I rolled a 3.
Okay. Yeah. So you see these gnats kind of coming at you in a wave, and like maybe it's at least partially because you're not in a pot right now, so they don't really have like dirt to sink into. So you don't
that's so good.
Yeah. So you don't take any harm, but you feel like, I'll say because you rolled so low under like even what you would need to, you can tell that if they land like a hit on any of you, they're going to be like infesting, like they're going to be trying to infest you. So it's like damage, but also like they're still gonna be there as part of like the mechanic. But you're able to dodge out of the way, get out of the way of these fungus gnats. And the hibiscus is just like, I think, dude, it's like when someone is sick and they're like, you know, like coughing a little bit, and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought I would be, you know, fine to go out, and like embarrassed, and they like sneezed on you. Maybe a little bit more menacing now, you know, with a ongoing pandemic, but these gnats,
it's just allergies.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, I think that's what the hibiscus says is, oh, I'm sorry, it's just my seasonal gnat allergy. Embarrassed. But yeah, that is back to the 3 of you. That was the gnat's turn.
So can we constantly be changing our like order, or is it like, are we supposed to be?
No, it doesn't have to be linear, so you can constantly be changing what order you're going in.
I think what I will do if Widow can go next is use her convert essence ability again and roll one of those resists over back to raw magic. So it's going to be back to 4 and 1.
Cool. Yeah. I think while that's happening, some more gnats are coming around this thicket that you've formed, Gnome, kind of coming around the side. And go ahead and Gnome, roll me a resist to see if these gnats
I have 1 resist, so I will take damage, guys. I'm just letting you know.
I can help you. I have a fortify ability I can use.
Okay, well, I rolled a 5, but you know what? Yeah, maybe because it won't affect me too much, maybe this is the time where I should use someone donated bits and I can subtract 1 from my score.
You can, but you would still be a 4. So you would still not be rolling lower. But you could use your rot if you really don't want to take this damage. That's the push mechanic. So if you fail at a roll, you can use rot to not take any damage. That's up to you if you want to use that. You only have 2 rot points.
But if I use when I was reading it, when I use my rot, I can add a dot to either resist or raw magic.
If you use 2 rot, so using a rot 1 time is just automatically succeeding at a roll. If you use up both of those points, then you get to add 1, because it's kind of like a punishment and a reward, because you take damage, but then you also get something. But if you use a rot now, you won't take any damage, and you'll just have 1 rot point left.
I'll go ahead and take a rot for now, just so that I can add more to my resist, even if I lose like HP later.
Yeah, cool. That sounds good. So yeah, what do you think? I think the way that the rot is, because it's helping you, but it's also taking some of your energy. And so I think what happens is, you know, before you were worried about the root rot on your legs, on your roots, and you were starting to feel weak because like something was going on with the Great Succulent, I think you tap into this like power, this magic that you have, and kind of dodge out of the way of these I almost said gnomes, these gnats that also like kind of get stuck. You know, you dodge out of the way and then they hit the wall of thorns. And as you're doing that, you look down at your roots and see little bits of root rot like starting to form on your roots.
I'm like, Widow, catch me, and then I like do the faint fall off like onto Widow.
I got ya.
Great.
And I turn to Widow, and I'm like, I don't know why George left us, but just in case I never see George again, I think I'm dying.
You're not dying.
Too soon for goodbyes. Hold tight. We'll get out of this.
Yeah, I think George, I think this might be a good time for you to come back with if you've thought of something that you found.
I have an idea. Cats like to knock things under the couch.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking if I found like a cotton ball, probably with like either some probably a used cotton ball, even like with something sticky on it.
Yeah.
And then I'll use my magic to like summon an even bigger version or something like that to roll it onto the gnats.
Ooh,
and have them either get stuck or crushed.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, go ahead and roll your raw magic to and you get to roll 3. Roll a number of d6 equal to your raw magic score to see how well your summoning goes. So if you roll if none of them are below your raw magic, this just isn't gonna work. If you roll 1, then you're definitely gonna take some of these gnats out. And I think if you roll 2 or 3, yeah, I think if you get all 3 under, you're gonna wipe these gnats out. The 2 is what I'll have to figure out. Don't roll 2 successes because I don't know what to do with that.
That's gonna be kind of hard because I got a 1, a 3, and then I believe this is a 5. Oh, this dice is weird. I don't know which one's 5 and which one's 2.
So you specifically did what I asked you not to do.
Yeah, I don't follow directions. So yes, I got 2 successes.
So I think what happens then is, because I have a harm threshold for these gnats, so I'll say you do 2 harm to them, because just over the table 3 harm is the threshold that they have. So you got 2 successes, so you do 2 harm to them. So yeah, you're fainting kind of, and like you're like, I think I'm dying. Where is George? And then this big like, what do you think this like spectral like giant cotton ball looks like as it rolls in?
It's like almost like a boulder of a cotton ball, and like there's like red nail polish on it or something like that. And
yes.
Like, rolls past you to hear it, or says like, quit your griping.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you do that. This big cotton ball kind of goes past you. I think you can tell the rest of you, there's just one tiny little swarm left of these gnats. And they're gonna go, and I think they're gonna go after, they got a hit on, or they didn't get a hit on you, but they were kind of going after Gnome, so I think they're going to go after you again. So go ahead and roll resist. They can sense your weakness as you're...
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I turn to Widow and I say, I think the Great Succulent is coming for me, because I don't understand what the cotton ball is.
Don't go to the light.
But I will roll, and I got a 2. However, since I didn't use my -1, I will use my -1 this time.
Thank you. Thank you. And anyone in chat, you too can be the cause of a great success like this. With just a few minutes.
Thank you, Fa Fee Foo.
Yes, thank you so much, Fa Fee Foo. And yeah, you these gnats just kind of you're still dramatically like pretend, pretending to
Yeah.
pass out are passing out. You cause a little
Yeah.
gust with your hand, and they kind of are
Yeah.
pulled away. They're still there, but they haven't managed to
Uh-huh.
get you. It is now the three of you. It's your collective turn. Does anyone have something that they kind of have in mind to do?
Go ahead. Go. What do you have?
Can I chuck the actual cotton ball at them?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be a magic roll as well, because you're so far away and you don't really have arms. You have roots that you're very reluctant
I will pull
for
out my
anyone to
roots
see.
for once because I'm behind. I'm like near the couch, so like
That's true.
It's subtle enough. Yeah. That's a 3. So yeah.
Yes,
Just
yeah.
made.
You toss this cotton ball with like the little bit of nail polish, and just like take out the last few of these gnats, and the hibiscus kind of like ruffles her. I almost said ruffles her feathers, like ruffles her singular leaf and singular flower, and has a little sneeze and says, "Oh, well, I'm feeling a lot better. I don't know about the three of you."
I just imagine as the cotton ball flies overhead, as I'm like crouched over Gnome, I'm just like, as the cotton ball flies over, and then I look over at George and I go, "George, I saw your roots." Yay!
They're not meant for you. They're not meant for any of you. Those roots are meant for me.
There's a little titter from the air plants again.
Fly from the peanut gallery.
Perfect.
He'll be dead in a month anyways, and he just she
Yeah,
just
and
wails over.
Their roots are out for anyone to see. The air plants. They're in little glass containers on the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
These damn plants showing the roots all the time.
Gnome, are you okay? Do you take any damage?
How you feeling? Gnome?
So I get off of Widow, and I use my roots to hold up some of my other roots, and I'm like, "Look at this, guys!" And I show off the little bit of rot.
Well, I don't know if I can help with that.
Yeah, be careful, or else you're gonna have to chop all that off,
Mm-hmm.
and you won't be walking anywhere.
Are you able to walk on those roots, or should you tread lightly?
It's okay for now, but maybe just in case I should hitch a ride on George's pot.
Oh, so now you like the pot.
I love that little conversation. I think you travel a little bit more. You're pretty close to the bathroom now. And I think you get over to where you know the bathroom is. The light in there is off, so you can't really see into it very well, but the door is cracked open. I think, again, just because I'm basing this on my apartment, there was like a kind of curtain in the way, like from that like back hallway, and so you kind of go through that curtain, you can see the bathroom door is cracked open a little bit. But it's dark in there.
I feel a cold chill.
That's because your roots are exposed. Can I use the connect memories to get... So when investigating in place, you may roll your raw magic score to see if you can tap into an area's latent memories. On the success, you receive a vision of the last 24 hours.
Yes.
So
yeah,
just to
absolutely.
see if like the Great Succulent actually went in there, or, you know, what might have happened. So I'm going to try and tap into like the bathroom memories.
Go for it. Roll that raw magic.
It's 3 of them, right? Like
this
3
one
raw magic,
just
or is it
1? I think you're rolling once to see if you roll below 3, or 3 or below, I should say.
Okay, I had a 4, but I'm going to use that plus that -1
Yes.
to get a success.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So what do you think George does to try to tap into like these memories? Like, what do you think this is like?
I think he like looks at the others like, now girls, turn around. I'm gonna do something a little. I don't want you watching. Just turn around. Cover your eyes or whatever.
His gnome just still staring.
No, turn around.
So I do that thing where you like sort of turn around, but then you're like, like that.
Yeah.
So when they're turning around, then George's roots kind of go out and like touch like past the door frame onto the area to try and get like that energy drawn in, and they're glowing slightly as she's trying to draw in that energy of the past 24 memories and get that feel through her roots.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Gnome, as you turn around like a little bit, you're kind of looking behind you and kind of looking in front of you. You see the air plants like are in these kind of dangling little glass things, and you can see them swaying, trying to like look around because you're kind of, George is like kind of behind the door, and they're like kind of like rocking back and forth to look. But George, you do this, and your roots kind of touch like the cold bathroom floor. And you feel that cold like go into your roots and go like up through you. And you can immediately see, I imagine, because it's 24 hours, I imagine it's kind of like a time lapse kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And you see, you know, like, I think the first thing you see is like early in the morning, the cat like paws her way, like kind of you feel like the cat kind of move through you and paw her way and like pull the door open and go in and jump up on the sink and like, you know, lick water out of the bottom of the sink, like the dripping water, and jump down. You see your caretaker go in and get into the shower and like kind of coming and going. Obviously it's a bathroom. You see her also go in and, you know, use the restroom. But the thing that is most important that you want to see is you do see her bring in the Great Succulent. And I haven't really described the Great Succulent yet, but the Great Succulent, all of you would know this, is a, what is the name? It's called a donkey tail sedum. So it's one of those ones that have like the really like flowing down leaves that are like the tiny little kind of like bead-like leaves. And yeah, she's this gorgeous donkey tail sedum. But you can tell which what you remember was like this is that like some of the undergrowth, especially from this position where she's kind of passing over you as she's being carried in, some of the undergrowth is a little bit yellowy. Some of the leaves look like a little bit too like soggy, like how succulents get when they are overwatered. And you see with horror that your caretaker has the Great Succulent in a macrame container, like a macrame thing, and you see her go over and hang the Great Succulent on a little hook from the ceiling next to the sink, and hang the macrame plant hanger up there and walk back out.
This is worse than the Great Flood 2010. What is this?
There's been a lot of floods.
A lot of floods. A lot of droughts.
A lot of floods and a lot of droughts.
A lot of droughts. It stabilized for a while, and then she went on like a two-week vacation, and this other person came in, and it was another flood because he did not know how to take care of plants. So George will retract her root.
Yeah.
All right, you girls can turn around now. So the Great Succulent is definitely in there. Our owner definitely does not know how to take care of plants. I really wish she would stop buying so many. But she's hanging there from some sort of hanger. I don't know, and she looks pretty flooded. So I think we need to start our rescue operation.
Rescue plan.
I mean, but won't our owner or our caretaker notice that we've moved to the Great Succulent?
Listen, she's been in such a haze this past year. Like, she just goes and watches Netflix and then starts 5 million crafts, and she has so many plants, I don't think she noticed that if it got moved or not.
Wait, guys,
okay.
hear me out. Hear me out. Once we so where exactly is the Great Succulent?
In a in a hanging.
Yeah, she's like in one of
thing.
those like macrame like hanging things, and she's like hanging from the ceiling like on in one of these plant holders next to the sink.
Hear me out. We can take the Great Succulent, but that hanger is still gonna be there. I think our caretaker is gonna notice. So hear me out. We already have a dying plant that we just passed on the way in. Can't we do a little switcheroo?
We could. Although it could be just as good of an effort to just assume she'll blame it on the cat, because she does that a lot. And that didn't the cat knock over, what was his name? Atticus, like a month and a half ago?
Ah, that's true. That's true.
But it's a good idea. Should we ask Hibiscus for consent?
Consent to be left for dead?
What if we get some of I'm pretty sure there's some pot shards from Atticus when he broke. Maybe we can just put it underneath that little macrame hanger, and she can believe that it got knocked over and broken and, you know, put somewhere else.
George, you know that this means that you're gonna have to sacrifice some of your dirt, right, to make it look real.
I think that's a fair sacrifice, George.
Fair enough. Although I think we could just take that from the Hibiscus, because like she's not using it anyways.
I don't want to touch her.
Yeah, if we touch Hibiscus's gnat egg-filled dirt, we'll get gnats.
We all know she's a goner, even if we killed the gnats.
Like how the Hibiscus in the back. She's she definitely got like a week or two left. Yeah, might as well let her rest in peace, you know, before the gnats really kick in.
You look back at Hibiscus. She seems like she is not listening. Like she's very far gone.
She gives another cop.
Yeah.
Go to the light, Hibiscus. It's all okay. Everything's over.
I'm just saying, who knows how many gnat eggs are in Hibiscus's dirt at this point?
Yeah, it's not a good choice. We definitely need George's dirt.
Yeah, if we touch Hibiscus's dirt, then we're all goners.
That's fair. But the moment little Miss Widow over there gets more dirt, I want some of it, because that's going to be the good stuff.
I'll give you some of my dirt. That's okay.
When you get your new pot and get dirt, I want some of that good stuff. You know, that like pot and soil with all the nutrients.
Dirt. Yeah.
That's what she does, and then she forgets to replace it every that. So it's been a while since I've gotten new dirt. So I'll agree.
Okay. So how do we get the Great Succulent down from the hook, or do we take the hook down completely?
Well, let's go in there first, and then that way we can get a whole gander at the situation.
Right. We're still outside the door, aren't we?
Yeah, you're slightly outside the door.
Oops. Can we make it through the crack?
Yeah. It's not like closed. Okay. It's like open like this much probably. So you could definitely push the door a little bit and make it through.
She has a cat in the house. I highly doubt any door is closed.
I know, yeah. Yeah, so you push the door open with a little creak, and make your way in. And as soon as you do go in, I think there's like one of those, it's dark in here, but there's one of those, like motion sensitive, like nightlight kind of things, like plugged into one of, like, probably next to the sink, like there's like a thing over there. And this very like, kind of like bluish, like white light comes on as you all kind of get closer, lighting up the sorry state of the Great Succulent, looking rapidly deteriorating even from what your vision of her was, George. No sunlight in here. It's very humid because it's a bathroom. Not a good situation. Not a good situation at all.
I guess we could call her the Good Succulent now, because I don't think she's at the great level anymore.
I'm gonna roll something.
Oh no.
The Great Succulent, like, kind of moves a little bit when you say that, and you see a shower of the little tiny leaves fall off as she moves.
Horror.
Yeah, and she says, "Is that you, dearies? Are you here for my final days?"
No, we came to rescue you.
You ain't dead yet.
I'm not ready for you to go.
I'm not ready for you to go.
George,
I'm
I
not
always,
ready either for you to go.
I always said if anything happens to me, George.
Like hell, nothing's gonna happen. I'm not taking over. I'm not babysitting anymore. We're getting you out of here.
Yeah, what's the plan? The succulent's like pretty high up off the ground. But
We have to immediately remove the great succulent from her pot just so that her roots can breathe.
I sense a theme.
I mean, that's how you get air in,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
She's very anti-pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pro nudity.
yeah. Wait. Is Gnome saying like we need to get her out of the pot right away? Like, is Gnome saying that out loud?
Yes.
Yeah, I think she says, oh, I'd love to air out these my dank little roots. I hate to put it that way and be so crude, but it's really soggy around here.
Oh,
How are we supposed to move? But how are we supposed to move? The great succulent out of the pot without causing all of her little like beads to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
Like all her little leaves, her little bead-like leaves.
Would we be able to use your like stripper pole spike thing to like just pierce at the very bottom, like not too far in to hurt her roots, but enough to like either pierce her bottom or like get the side of it so that she has something to grab onto?
I feel like that could work if she is able to pull any of her roots out of the dirt and like hold on really tightly to the spike. And if we need to, one of us can just climb the spike and help her.
Yeah.
Something else I have is I have a manifest essence feature where they describe two ideas. I could use like a tidal wave, which would stun enemies, or I could fortify, which would negate an instance of damage. I wonder if we could kind of take it out of the box and use the tidal wave to help us like navigate her off this ledge and down potentially. Like it's just like a force of water.
I like
and wash her out. Okay.
Yeah,
I could try that.
I think if you did that, I probably would have her roll resist. Not to be stunned, but just because her leaves are so fragile that but that definitely is a way to get her because she's so high above you. That's not a bad idea to try to maybe knock her down and see what you can do after that.
That would also be good, or you could also fortify her, couldn't you? Like,
yeah, I could just fortify her.
Fortify her as we put the spike up so she doesn't get hurt at all as we push the spike like through it.
Yeah, I'm fine with either. I think both work.
Widow, if any of us have to climb the spike, I think it'll have to be you. George can't climb it because of her pot, and I can't because my roots are dying.
Yeah, I can prove myself. I will climb the spike and fortify the great succulent.
Okay, so let me go ahead and roll my raw magic to see if I can summon the spike, and I got a 3.
Good.
Nice.
So yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go for it.
Yeah, let me see. One big spike. Yeah, you immediately have this spike like go soaring up. I think this is definitely a stretch for you because this is very tall, maybe taller than you've ever made a spike like this. The situation is so dire. You can feel I'm not going to give you a point of rot because that's not really how it works, but like you feel this like straining your magic and like the ache in your roots as you're like, the last time I like stretched my magic, I got root rot, but you're still pressing on. And this big spike starts to go up, and I think I'll have Widow. If you want to roll resist to grab onto the spike and kind of ride it up or like climb it up without getting damaged by the spike, I think that's probably the way that makes most sense to roll this.
I rolled a 5, so I am going to use my fa fa fee foo 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 and get a 4.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, so you managed to grab on to this spike, and almost, like, I think some of the edges of it, just because you're using like so much of your magic in a way that you haven't before, gnome, like it's one of those things where sometimes thorns have like kind of the really feathery kind of things, like the things that get like stuck in your fingers, and like a nettle or something like that. So this big thorn that you're summoning has some of that. But Widow,
I'm doing the most intense splits I've ever done in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, you, Widow, are able to kind of like keep from having these tiny little like irritants like get into your leaves and into your roots as you ride your way up to the Great Succulent. Yeah. And I'm gonna have the Great Succulent roll resist. And I just have her stats as a 3 in raw magic and a 2 in resist. So she has to get she has to get a 2 or a 1. I can't remember what dice I'm rolling. It's a D6. There's only one dice in this game. So first we'll see if she just manages to on her own not take damage from this spike. She did get a 1. So you're up there with her, which is still very handy because what's gonna happen next? But she is lifted up out of this macrame hanger as the spike kind of like goes in and like goes into the bottom of her pot. Were you trying to get it to crack the pot open, or were you trying to like lift her? Like, what exactly was the goal of the spike? Because I want to honor that since you did succeed.
George, what did we want to do?
You know, I'm pro pot, but you're negative pot, so like it's really up to you on whether or not you want to keep that pot intact.
We should totally break the pot because we need some shards anyways.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
But
you
make it look like
yeah, cool. So you send the spike up. Widow's riding it up with a little vine wrapped around, and just go up, and it just cracks. I think it's in like kind of a clay, like glazed clay pot. It just cracks this pot into the pieces kind of fall through this macrame container, and the Great Succulent is perched on the tip of the spike. Like the dirt falling a little bit from around her roots, and she's like, okay, so
now is the time where, what's the plan again, guys?
You guys just have to climb down the spike, or I guess can I use my abilities to make the spike come back down?
Yeah, I think you can. I think I would have Widow and the Great Succulent roll resist, just because it's coming down, like it's kind of the same way it was going up. But were you gonna say something, George?
I just for contingency sakes, can I we're in the bathroom, so I'm gonna look behind the toilet and grab the sponge that she used for cleaning, but then she kind of like just leaves there and it drops and she forgets about it and buys a new sponge. So I want to grab the sponge and use my power to make like almost like a landing pad, just in case.
Oh, nice, cool. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So let's see. I think what we'll do is first go ahead and roll that. I'm trying to decide whether it's more exciting to have the sponge second. I think it's more exciting to have the resist first and then have the sponge be like if that goes bad. So Widow, go ahead and roll resist, and I will roll resist for the Great Succulent. And I have to get 1 or 2. Oh,
I rolled a 4, which is what my resist is at. Is that a success?
That's a success.
Okay.
The Great Succulent rolled a 5. So starts. She's not used to being out of her pot. She's an old succulent. She's not opposed to it. It's just not the way she grew up. And
it's traditional.
She really admires, some of these younger succulents who are, comfortable having their roots out all the time. She's just not used to it. And so this I think it's one of those things for you, Gnome, where it's like, this was such an effort for you to have this happen. So you're dropping this thorn, like you're having it like suck back down a little bit too fast. It's like when you're like letting go of a weight and it's like, okay, I lifted it and now it's coming down. So it's coming down a little bit fast. And the Great Succulent, I think looks like she's going to take some damage from this. You can see Widow, her leaves quivering. But you're still close enough that if you wanted to use your fortify.
Yes, I think I will want to use my fortify just in case.
Cool.
So it's going to be a resist roll, I think.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead and roll resist.
Okay. It's a 4 again, so I think I just barely succeed.
Cool. So I think the Great Succulent would, because she's so fragile, she would be taking more than 1 point of damage from this, just because it's such a far fall and she's very fragile. So you negate 1 point of that. It looks like there's some more headed her way, but George, why don't you go ahead and roll your raw magic. Go ahead and roll 3d6 for for the sponge, and I'll say for each successful d6 you'll take away a point of damage from the Great Succulent.
Got 2 successes and 1 failure.
Perfect. So so she had 3 hit points. I was having 3 come at her for falling. Widow uses her magic. What is, I think all 3 of you, if you want to take the reins on this and describe as cinematically as you'd like what each of the 3 of you are doing to make it so that the Great Succulent comes tumbling down from this like macrame container, potless, leaves quivering, and what the 3 of you do that she takes no damage at all. Perfect landing.
I don't do anything. I've lost a little bit of respect for the Great Succulent, but I've gained some respect for George.
Yeah, definitely a book check-in in George's book.
Yeah.
I'd say Widow, as she's falling, she's just holding on, and she looks over and she sees that the Great Succulent does not have it together, and she's panicking like, oh no, and she focuses on her essence, and her roots grow out a little bit in that direction, trying to help like cushion the fall a bit.
Yeah, I think when she first starts falling, the Great Succulent is falling like leaves down. Like her roots are like waving in the air.
Yes, that's
and
perfect.
You reach out with your roots and your power of essence and kind of turn it so she's not, you know, completely landing on top of these leaves. George, that's you to finish this up.
I think George at the time respectfully was looking away, and also like was looking at the sponge as an idea of like, well, she's probably a sopping one. I probably should, you know, dry her up. But had heard the oh no, as the Great Succulent is falling down. I was like, oh lordy, and like quickly like the sponge turns around, and then that glitter sparkle from the flower, and it like a giant spectral sponge slides across the floor and lands under puts underneath the Great Succulent, and like a bouncing trampoline pad almost, the Great Succulent just drops onto it, bounces a little bit, and comes to a soft landing.
Yes, perfect. She kind of like very cautiously is standing like just on like 2 very frail little roots. I think, Gnome, you look at her roots and you're like, ooh, I thought I had it bad. Like, her roots do not look good. But
yeah, we gotta chop it.
She's wiping her roots on this big spectral sponge as the magic starts to dissipate. And I think kind of, like, settles to the ground, like her roots shaking. There's a pile of her dirt behind her, so George, it looks like you might not have to give up too much of your own. She lost a lot of it when the pot broke. But I think, you know, like in a video game, I'm not gonna have you make the long trek back. That's not as fun. So that goes pretty uneventfully. You're able to, I think the 3 of you using your powers, and the Great Succulent has powers. She's weak right now, but she does have powers. And is there anything that you all want to be doing, kind of like, is there anything that I missed that you had planned to do to help cover up your rescue?
I want to chop her roots.
Does she have a name? Other than, you know, the Great Succulent.
Yeah, you only know her as the Great Succulent, but if you, I mean, she's with you, so you could, I mean, she seems especially vulnerable right now, so if you want to ask, if you want to use this as a time to, you know, to bond with her a little bit.
I think we have to cut your roots. I do not ask for her name.
She kind of sighs and she says, "It's not what I wanted, but might be what has to happen." And I think
we should keep the roots at least until she can walk her, you know, leaves back to the windowsill. I mean, there is the kitchen, so.
No, let's just cut it now so we can discard it with the rest of the dirt.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, she, I mean, you're all plants, you don't really have, like, eyes or faces. So she kind of, like, you know, like, kind of, like, puts some of her leaves up and, like, seems to be, like, kind of trying to look away from her roots. But you're able to cut off some of the root rot and leave it, you know. And she has, like, lost some leaves. So there's, like, by the time you're leaving, it's, like, there is a bunch of, like, dirt here. There's, like, some of her leaves here. There's some of her roots here. Like, if somebody was really paying close attention, they would be like, this is obviously not this entire plant. But your caretaker clearly is not paying that close of attention to all of you. So, so this might be a success. Yeah. Yeah, she is, I think, I'm imagining the three of you are kind of, like, supporting her. And I think you're passing these other plants who also know that they get their sentience from her. So, like, there's other plants that kind of join in and help you. I think the fig, kind of rolls.
How does hibiscus look when we walk by?
We do not look at hibiscus.
Has hibiscus moved on?
Hibiscus is dead. The gnats were moving on because they knew there was not much left there for them to eat. You walk out past the dead hibiscus, but that's like kind of what was coming for the Great Succulent. Like that was her future fate.
Yeah.
But Figgy, as you get like back over towards the counter, Figgy kind of like shakes his leaves a little bit and says, "Well, I suppose I can make a sacrifice for the Great Succulent," and kind of like
so you do it for the Great Succulent, but not for the heroes of the Great Succulent? Really, Figgy? We could have had such a much easier time if you actually did your goddamn job and let us down in the first place.
You weren't heroes at the time that you asked me. Now you're heroes. Now you can climb me. And he's kind of like wobbled his way over closer to the counter, and you're able to climb up his leaves.
You know what, George?
Shit.
George, if you had told Figgy that you were the next Great Succulent, he may have let us do it from the get-go.
I don't want Great Figgy to know anything about me.
Did you
fair.
do it for the gecko? Because I'm not too fond of geckos either.
Figgy, no one cares. No one cares. Go back to your corner.
Thank you, Figgy.
You do see he in the process definitely has lost some leaves already, and there's a couple of them that are barely hanging on as he makes his way back over to where he was. But yeah, you're all able to. What do you think? Is there anything you're doing? Because the Great Succulent is now with you, but potless. Is there anything that you want to do, like as a last thing, or any like conversations you want to have before we wrap up this adventure?
We should find a pot for the Great Succulent, but before we do, I'm like, okay, Great Succulent, I know you like don't have the strength to look for a pot, so how about you imbue us with more magic since we just rescued you first of all. And then we'll go ahead and find a pot for you. How does that sound?
She laughs and she says, well, I can give you a little bit of juice. I don't
especially because we just saved you.
Right. Well, I am close to death, so you know, if I had a ton of power, I probably would have gotten down myself, but very fair.
No, why don't you give her your pot? Because you're all roots out anyways. You're not using it.
My
Great
pot is
Succulent. Oh, go ahead.
My pine is still at the windowsill, remember?
Yeah, we're at the windows.
I think, yeah, you are.
Oh, we
I
made
mean,
it all
if
look
you
like-
want,
okay.
if you want to be, you can be at the windowsill.
Great Succulent, I have a proposition for you. Perhaps we could get a big pot together and I could be assistant to the Great Succulent.
Oh
And you
my
could
gosh.
like teach me more stuff about the essence.
You just came into the apartment, okay?
I did. I know, but
so...
it was meant to be. I never had a pot. The Great Succulent loses her pot. We can be an assortment, you know, like a joint deal.
I don't know if you'll fit on the windowsill at that rate, though.
Well, have fun trying to flirt with anyone else when a parent is watching over you.
No, who you be flirting with? Those window sluts with their.
Oh no.
All right.
George,
Think it over,
George
Great
is
Succulent. Maybe
canceled. It's official.
George is canceled.
The fig drops another leaf. I think
They've been tittering all game.
George, I think you know that there is like kind of a big pot like under the sink. Like there's a lot of like different plant kind of stuff, like the fertilizer and stuff is down there. And you know that your caretaker has forgotten about this big, like almost like a bowl under the sink that you're like, that could work.
Wait, before we do anything, I stop them because I'm like, listen, Widow, I think it is great that you want to hang out with the Great Succulent and all that, but I think maybe we should give the Great Succulent some time to heal up first, only because this situation, if you guys are both in the same pot right now, it's going to be a situation where you're both on a tandem bike, but only one of you is pedaling.
fair, I guess.
So, you know, and like, how are you supposed to get around? How are you supposed to do anything? You're just going to be stationary the entire time.
What's wrong with staying on the windowsill?
George is always in her pot, but at least she can move when it matters.
And it has been a lot of fun today, despite the gnats and the cat and the water. It has been nice moving around. So you're right there, Gnome.
Yeah, don't let the Great Succulent hold you down just yet.
Couldn't she just get out of the pot and walk around like you do, Gnome? Like, unless
also,
you wanted to move in with you.
Also, I don't suggest you being in the same soil as her right now, because her root rot might spread to you, because it spreads through soil.
No, that makes sense.
Is that true?
Sense. That's the first thing that makes sense.
I'm afraid it's
All
true. I'd love to have a roommate, but I think I need to quarantine for a little bit.
Okay. So we need to find 2 pots.
Yeah, so I think with the help of these other plants, they're able to... There are definitely, like, pots from other plants that have died, or pots that, like, the caretaker intends to put you in at some point, but just hasn't yet. And so with the help of, you know, some of the other plants around, and the Great Succulent does have some magic, she's able to help you out as well. I think everyone gets situated in their pots, and you're all back on the windowsill, just like you were this morning, but not quite just like you were this morning. You're all a little bit stronger. You've all learned a lot. Yeah. And I think you also have a little bit more respect from the Great Succulent. She wasn't disrespectful before, but it is one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, like I taught you well. You feel a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, she just feels like a normal plant to me now.
George is even more adamant about not becoming the Great Succulent.
Yeah. What about Widow? Is there any last feelings or thoughts that Widow has?
No. She doesn't think a lot.
Looking forward to the day when she can...
She probably woke up the next day in a pot and forgot, like this is the pot she was in yesterday. Like, someone points it out to her and she's like, oh yeah, I wasn't in this pot.
Yeah, this isn't quite as tight on me. I think that's a lovely ending to the stream. Thank you all so much. This has been so much fun. I really wanted to play this game. I really wanted to play with the three of you. Chat has been loving it. Everyone's been talking about we've got some comments of good schemes. Someone else, I think, accused you of blackmail in exchange for the power. We've got a lot of love for George. We've got a lot of love for George early on. But you know, it's up to people how they want to take the last minute heel turn. George. So wonderful. But yeah, I'll go ahead really quick and I'll let here's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and let each of you give a last plug for your channel, anything that you have coming up. And then what I will do is I'll leave the Zoom call so I can do my credits and do like a raid. If the three of you want to hang out for a second, so I can come and like, you know, thank you properly off stream, that's totally cool. But if you have places to go and you need to get out of the Zoom call, that's totally fine too. So we'll start back with, actually, I think we had Tisha start once, we had Dreamy start once. Let's have Paige start this time. So where can people find you and what are you up to?
Yeah, you can find me over at twitch.tv/dungeonmom. All the O's are zeros. And I stream Dungeons and Dragons and RPG content on Wednesdays and Sundays. And I also play a lot of PC games as well. So you can find me over there. And I'll be streaming tomorrow night. So I hope to see you. And thank you, Taylor. This has been a lot of fun.
Yes, this has been so much fun. Now I don't know who to go to next, so I'll go to Dreamy next. Where can people find you and what do you have coming up?
Okay, if you guys want to follow me on Twitch, it's just under Dreamatude. It's the same as I think is what's written on the overlay. My Twitter handle is also the same. I probably won't be streaming again until Tuesday. Like I said, I play a lot of Nintendo games, a lot of RPGs, JRPGs as well, and yeah, that's it. If you want more of these shenanigans, I've blackmailed people in other games I've played. So
yes, and yeah, Tisha, where can people find you at?
You can find me at Captain Freestar on both Twitch and Twitter. I also stream over at Twisted Team. In fact, I'll be doing Resident Evil, like I said, tonight in about like an hour or so. I stream art on Tuesdays over at Captain Freestar and just do a whole variety of games, so you can check me out there. I promise I'm not as crotchety and like angry at the world as my character is, but probably just about as vocal. So
wonderful. Cool. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and let me go over to my credits screen so it's not just gonna be weird on stream. And I'm gonna leave this Zoom call. I have to leave one of you in charge, I think. So Paige is who it automatically suggested because I think you were the first one in. So,
Hey!
so you're in charge.
Hey! Assistant to the Great Succulent. Here I go.
So don't do anything too crazy. I will. I'm gonna wrap up with stream and then I will come say a proper goodbye to you all. If you want to give, oh, you can't give waves. You're not on the stream anymore. So I'm gonna assign and leave. Okay. Thank you all so much, chat, for hanging out. This has been such a fun stream. Let me go through my, give some shout outs and thank yous. Starting off the stream strong with my first ever hype train, which is incredible. So thank you to the guests tonight for giving those primes. So Dungeon Mom, Captain Freestar, Dreamy, and then also thank you Troll Mila for the gifted sub. And then also we've got some follows. So welcome, you're all now adventurers. That's what I call the followers. Yes, thank you so much, Sky, for hanging out. Let me see, the follows: Twisted Team, Murdoch_2, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome, adventurer. Kellyman52, thank you so much for the follow. And then also for the bits, oh, Keegan Frost, thank you so much for the follow. And Fafa Fifi Fufu for the bits that literally changed the game. We got some successes that would otherwise have been failures, would otherwise have been people taking damage. And I think that's everything. If I've missed anything, it is scrolling past you right now. Let me look and see who's live while I think about what I have coming up. Because I wanna let's share the love to somebody else who's live right now. Ba 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 ba. Okay. We could do oh, thank you so much, Sierra, for the contribution. Oh, we're at 50%. When we get all these channel points in, I'm gonna do a cooking stream, which I'm really excited for. I'll leave it up to chat. We could watch some Subnautica, or you all could watch some Resident Evil 2. So if you have a preference, drop it in chat as I'm talking about things I have coming up. And whatever you're interested in, that's what we'll go watch. Stuff I have coming up. So next Saturday, I'm playing Little Nightmares 2 with my mom. It's been super fun. She's really funny, has really great reactions, and she doesn't really play video games, so it's fun to watch her like play a platformer. She's pretty good at it. And I'm not very good at platformers. So we're doing that next Saturday. The Saturday after that, I'm playing Lasers and Feelings with some wonderful people, including Chomila, who was in chat. I'm super excited for that. That'll be like a sci-fi game. And again, a game with like very simple mechanics. So if you enjoyed this tonight, you might also like Lasers and Feelings. Next month, some of you might know that I did a one-shot of Good Society, which is a Jane Austen-based tabletop RPG. I'm really excited because in June, we're coming back with those same players, and this time we're going to do more of... We did, like, Pride and Prejudice, the movie. This next stream we're going to do is going to be more like the mini-series, so as like, regards to length. So the first one was a one-shot. We're going to do, like, 3 or 4 sessions of gaming, and in June we're doing a character creation stream, which the character creation for Good Society is... you were going to head over... Okay, so I might go... we might raid Goblin with Subnautica. Yeah, Good Society, super fun game, extremely collaborative. The character creation is really cool. I'm very excited for that. So that'll be in June. I think I need to check the date. It's either it's going to be on a Sunday, and I think it's either I think it's the second to last Sunday in June. So I think it's like the 13th or something like that. I might be wrong. So I'm very excited for that. The players last time were amazing. They're going to be amazing again. And then apart from that, I've been playing Minecraft. I've been playing Pokemon Snap, which has been super fun. I'm probably almost done with Pokemon Snap. And then I've also been playing Phoenix Wright, which I'll get back to, and do character voices, which I like doing, even though it's a little bit rough sometimes. I'm going to go ahead and do the raid command. And we are going to go ahead and raid Goblin Girl Gaming, who's been on the stream before, the Mouse Rudder stream that I talked about earlier. She's been on for that. A couple of fun things are about to happen. First of all, if you come along with the stream, you'll get to meet Goblin, who is great, very entertaining, a wonderful streamer. She also plays tabletop games, although she's playing Subnautica right now. And you'll also get channel points for my channel, which is fun. And then what I'm about to do is go over to, I made a stream ending screen, which it's taken me forever to do. But I'm going to click over to that before we go on the raid. So hopefully I'll time it so that you'll get to see it. Thanks so much everyone for hanging out. I will see you all on Tuesday. And I'll see you soon. This has been a wonderful stream. Bye.